Mm-hmm.
Hi friends, welcome back to our channel. This is how you know that Jose is Sigma shit already. It's because normally I feel like, oh, I just knocked over my microphone when I did that. But normally when I say hi friends, you're like mimicking me. But this time, Jose told me he's gonna buy me like a shock collar and shock me when I get off
No, no, no,
topic.
no, no. I said
Um,
an an airsoft gun to shoot you in the arm every time you get off topic.
um, and then Niner Gang says clocks. So I think he's saying that we were running late, which was definitely
No, no,
Jose's
you were running late.
fault.
Ashley's
But
lucky that I was at home, like at my desk, waiting for news to get picked up, and because she does not let me know until 4 minutes before we're gonna start. That like, oh yeah, we're doing it. I'm like, okay, great. Now I
did
gotta
you go to the
freaking
gym
change
today?
up what I was doing.
Did you go to the gym today?
I go to the gym every day. Yes.
Was it last time that I was showing off my muscles? Man,
There's nothing
last
there.
week last week was like the first week in months that I like actually lifted weights. And so then this week I was like, I'm gonna do it again. And I've fucked up 2 times in a row and haven't done it yet. But today I'm gonna do it. Today I'm gonna do upper body. Tomorrow but I did run, but I know that you don't think that those things count. But today I'm gonna do upper body. Last week I did legs. Oh my god, the burn in my glutes. Sorry. Anyways, the 49ers just signed defensive tackle Jordan Elliott from the Browns. To let you know how relevant he is, when you type in Jordan Elliott 49ers, the beat writer for the NSMBC, Jordan Elliott popped up before him. And then Jordan Elliott from the Browns popped up, which also had a link to a YouTube video that said, should the Browns re-sign Jordan Elliott? And it was basically this guy crushing on Jordan Elliott and saying the Browns would be stupid to bring him back and that they should absolutely not do that. So really great that that's the guy that the 49ers got. Everything that I was seeing, he is good against the run, but definitely not an all downs player. How do you feel when you saw this news? We're also just going to get into, you really predicted this free agency was going to be, I think you wrote an article literally saying it was going to be boring, and everyone else was assuming this was going to be a really high stakes. I know there was a lot of Mike Silver, Matt Mayoko, Matt Barrows were really hyping up this free agency, and you seem to be right so far. But how was your, right before we went live, Jordan Elliott got signed, so how was your reaction to that?
I don't know much about him. That is just like,
Okay.
okay, here's another defensive line addition. That's all it pretty much sounded like to me. Like the moment they released Eric Armstead and Kinlaw was not coming back, and all, it's like, oh wow, they're really trying to do like a full on like change of the guard, like a full sweep of like, we're turning over this defensive line. We don't like it. I wonder if Kevin Givens is coming back now. I don't even know. So, and I wonder if even Eric Armstead's actually gonna be released. I wonder what's going on with that. Like, there's a lot of unknowns. So with him, it's just like
They definitely haven't brought in anyone who can replace Armstead's production so far.
no. A lot of this just sounds like a lot of like middling rotational guys. It seems like they're just going for depth, like nothing like top heavy, like no one of that caliber. So to me, yeah, like Jordan Elliott, it sounds like to me like, okay, it's another depth guy, maybe like a Kinlaw replacement or something like that. Because look, I wanted Kinlaw to come back. He came, like I said that last week, he came off of finally a full healthy season. He was actually pretty solid when he went, for the most part. But I guess the Niners just like, I'd rather go for someone who's durable, someone who's a constant. Like, just because you had this 1 year doesn't mean we trust you. And I'm fine. I totally get it. Or
I'm
maybe Kinlaw wanted
interested,
a new. Maybe Kinlaw wanted a new change of scenery. Who knows? But
especially with Armstead leaving. I could see Kinlaw being like more likely to want to leave, or and I know it's not like official that Armstead's leaving, but testing out the market, I kind of imagined if Armstead was going to stay, that maybe that would incentivize Kinlaw to try to stay. But I'm going to be interested to see how much he got, because you and I made a bet last week.
we
I
won't.
think the bet was 4 million, right?
That'll
So
be
if he
TBD.
got more than, what
Usually,
did
when
we
the
bet on?
contracts don't get released yet,
Okay.
it takes a while for them to
Why
get
does that
announced.
happen? By the way, why aren't they
I
like
don't know.
putting
I'm
them
not too
out
sure.
at the
I'm
same
wondering
time?
if that means like they're still hashing it out or like releasing like the detail or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, on Elliott, yeah, he had 3 sacks this year, 9 quarterback hurries. What did I read? 11 run stops. So yeah, he's like a nice little middling guy. You know, what'd you get him? Or two for 10, $5 million per year? Like, okay, yeah. Last year actually looked like his best years. He doubled his pass rush hurt. He had 18 hurries. He had 2 batted balls. He didn't have anyone this year. And he had 18 run stops versus 11 run stops. So last year, 2022 was when he was fairly good. I'm just reading off the stats. Like I know PFF like hates on him. I'm looking at their grades. Like they hate him. They hate him. I don't look at their grades. I don't like the grading system. I just like to read what the middle of the stats goes.
Have you ever talked to someone about like that grading system? It is very subjective.
I don't know how the freaking like it just goes by. I don't know. Like for me, I just don't care for the grades. What does the grades even mean? If I throw the grades out here or an article, that means I have to explain it every single time. So to me, I would just go what I saw and whatever like those little minor specific stats go. So I was like, okay, like that sounds like to me like a good like middling guy who give you like a player 2 per game. Like, okay, that's fine.
Matt Mayoko says Jordan Elliott can't and won't be the last addition to the 49ers interior defensive line.
Yeah, no way.
He should offer immediate help in the run game. Elliott was 12th in the NFL in run stop with a win rate of 40% last season.
Yeah, that's the other one I like. ESPN's pass rush and run stop, all those win rates. I love those too. I like those better than freaking like their grading systems. Like
40% seems low, but he's 12th in the NFL, which is pretty good.
40%. What the hell? That's high. What are you talking about? Oh, your run stop. You're winning on the run stop plays 40% of the freaking time. That's pretty good.
That's less than 50.
Okay, this isn't like the educational grading system where just because you get anything less than a 70 means it's bad. 40% of the time, in terms you ask anyone on probability, I'm a probability guy. That's freaking good. Like that's solid. Okay.
Failing grade, but all right.
Failing grade, yeah, but luckily this isn't school. Shows you how dumb school is. But anyways.
With the addition of Jordan Elliott and with them saying that they are still, it's not going to be the last. Are you anticipating any sort of big splash move? I know that we'll talk about Leonard Floyd in a minute, but like even that some people would consider a little bit underwhelming potentially for the hype that it was given. Do you think that they're going to get a Danielle Hunter type guy or no?
I don't know how they're going to afford him. Like, where's this cap space coming from too? I mean, it all depends on how the details comes out. Obviously, we know what like the base value of the contracts, right? Oh, 2 for 10, or Leonard Floyd got like 2. Wait, did he get 2 for 20? Yeah, 2 for 20. But we don't know where it's all being loaded towards. We don't know if there's gonna be like, well, I don't know. It's all a bunch of weirdness with those contract details that are kind of hard to tell right now. So it doesn't really make too much sense to actually have like a hardcore opinion about that. But in terms of being underwhelming, like, yeah, like I get Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd's a solid opposite of Bosa. Like he's fine. But in terms of splash hires like a Danielle Hunter, I don't know how that's going to work. Which actually like the edge rushing market has really been slow. It's been a lot of interior guys. Like there hasn't been too many off the board, but it's not like there was that many edge rushers who are that elite in the first place. But Danielle Hunter not being signed yet, it's a hell of a thing. I'm wondering if he's being picky about what he's going to get assigned to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's still an opportunity for the Niners to be in that running. But you're right. It kind of feels like maybe he's asking for something that the 49ers aren't willing to spend.
Because remember, the Niners, the only reason why is because number one, salary cap constraints. Of course, obviously, you can restructure players like a Fred Warner, and maybe it'll be another move or two that will be emerging in the next week, within the week. But yeah, it's just that was number one, and number two, like, dude, they already have like 11 like core like amazing players. Like it's just always this time. Everyone sees the new toy. Like I'm tired of this thing. I want to get something new. It's like it's literally naturally human just to start being like, I want something new. I want all those. I want everything else. Like it's like no. You got to remember to appreciate it because literally by the time regular season comes, everyone's gonna start talking about, oh, we're so stacked. So all this thing is just literally just initial reaction. And the dramatics of this is all getting worse.
It's also like I feel like teams, like if you look at the Chiefs, I imagine that fans of the Chiefs could say that their free agency has been underwhelming. Like teams that are already good don't need to go out and like get the best players.
Free agency is for bad teams. Why do you have all this cap space? Look at the Commanders; they're a bad team. Oh, they're saying, why can't you be like this? Yeah, when's the last time they made the playoffs? Like once in the last 10 years. Like these are for free agency. People who go hard on free agency are the bad teams. And if you're a good team, you're looking for like a handful, several like solid
The
key contributors for
disappointing
depth.
news of free agency was freaking the Giants getting Brian Burns. I hate when bad teams get really good players. I feel like it's such a waste.
Well, he chose that. He didn't want to, well, whatever. It doesn't matter at that point. But
Probably got the most money, but
yeah, he's probably got like
if you were a player,
something.
would you rather go to a team that was like in contention for a Super Bowl or the highest priced team?
No, I'm going highest price. I'm selfish. I don't care. I don't care about that career thing. That's why I don't blame these players at all. Where I start getting like a little more of these players' pockets, if like, okay, you're an 8 to 12-year veteran, you've made all this money, you're still pretty good, but you don't have that ring that you so covet. Like Eric Armstead. They asked you to take a pay cut. You're clearly not worth that, especially because of your availability, first and foremost, because he can still play. It's your body's breaking down, bro. So they're asking him to let's take a little pay cut. And he said, nah. The guy has made over $80 million in his career. He's pretty much set, but he doesn't want to take let's say that they're asking him to take 25% of his pay cut. Like, that's not terribly asking you. Like, what's you just had this magnificent run for the last 5 years with the 49ers, and you're over here thinking that, nah, I'm just going to keep making the best. And this is where it goes to say, a lot of these players who say they want to compete and stuff like that, it's always half, it's half glass full, or it's not fully weighted in the words that they're saying, which I don't blame them. But I mean, with Armstead, it's bro, you already made all this much. What do you need all this for? Don't you kind of want it? But hey, all right, cool. I guess he wants one more payday. He wants to still be cashed out and locked in, because maybe he does see that his body's breaking down and he doesn't have that much longer. Yeah, free agency is just being inactive. It just makes so much sense, because again, they've already been fine. And honestly, even looking at what are their needs, offensive line and defensive line,
defensive tackle.
There aren't really
offensive line.
There wasn't really too many amazing players. There was probably 1 to 4.
Do you think that they're gonna
top heavy
address
ones?
I mean, but I feel like they're not gonna have a rookie defensive tackle starting, do you?
No, not starting.
Right now it looks like they don't have a starter to replace Eric Armstead right now.
No, they don't. It doesn't seem like it. By default, it'd probably be Jordan Elliott or something. By default.
Yeah. I don't like that. But maybe Eric Armstead will end up coming back. Do you think that that's a possibility? Yeah. I just imagine that he'll get more, because in free agency, we keep talking about this, these guys get so overpaid.
It's true. Yeah. All it takes is one.
Imagine that
all
there
it takes
won't be
one.
But I do have a question. Did they have the opportunity to trade him instead of cutting?
Well, now
if a different team would have wanted to trade him before the announcement of he has to be released.
Yeah, maybe the Niners could have got a 6th or something, but
that's
I think if you're a team,
not even willing to do that.
The Niners are gonna cut him, and you can get him for less than that, because he's still gonna get be on the hook for the Niners the same way Russell Wilson is with the Broncos. So he's still gonna have some money coming his way. Yeah, they kind of ruined that a little bit already, or maybe there's something they want. Maybe they want him to have that freedom of choice, because they do kind of do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested. I think that they're gonna make at least one more big defensive move in free agency. I just can't see them. Do you think that they'd use that first pick on a defensive lineman in the draft?
I wouldn't be shocked if they did. Which I did see mock drafts show the run on a lot of edge rushers goes starting from pick 24 or something like that. So it's well. Don't tempt the 49ers to pick a defensive lineman, because guess what? That's all I like to do.
They're going to do it.
Look, honestly, I feel the question now isn't what position they're going to pick. My question now is are they going to get it right? I don't give a damn if it's corner. I don't give a damn if it's wide receiver. Are they going to get it right? This team sucks.
They're bad at drafting.
What was the headline? In the first round.
What was the headline of your article that I was literally just reading? It was on Javon Kinlaw, but I thought that the article,
I basically said another first round draft pick leaves in free agency or doesn't pan out. And look, it's another whiff. Javon Kinlaw is a whiff. He's not a bust, because he still technically made it through 4 years, and now he's found another team. He's not a bust. He's not a bust player. But a whiff is you didn't, especially on the first rounds, those first 2 rounds especially. He didn't stay, because when you draft first round, these players don't leave like that instantly, or especially because he wasn't really contributing. Mike McGlinchey to me was a whiff. You drafted in the top 10. He was the 10th pick. offensive tackle is supposed to be your cornerstone for years to come, but why didn't you re-sign him? Because you knew he wasn't
they
worth
got
it.
the same production out of
Wasn't worth it.
McKivitz.
Yeah, and he was slightly better or slightly worse than McKivitz this or whatever. The point is me, they're like 1A, 1B, or A and B. What does it matter? That's a whiff. Javon Kinlaw is a whiff. Trey Lance obviously was a goddamn like a whiff and might be a bust.
Do you think he's going to be starting for the Vikings? Do you hear everyone talking about that, or do you think it's going to be Sam?
I don't get why.
Darnold.
Don't talk about it if the trade's not going to happen.
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold
going there is funny.
How if you're freaking Justin Jefferson? I'm pissed.
Is he pissed because he's going to be getting like 120 guaranteed or something like that? No, not 120 guaranteed, but he'll get like 90, 95.
Going from Kirk to Sam Darnold sucks. Like both of them suck. But if you're him, you're hoping
suck.
Not suck, but you're right. I just mean like you're maybe not winning a Super Bowl with either of them. But with Sam Darnold, you like literally he's like he throws hospital balls like Jimmy G.
I don't even think he doesn't have really an arm like that either. Darnold, like Kirk Cousins does. Kirk Cousins is like a top 5 deep ball thrower in the league. Did
you think that was smart for Atlanta to sign him though? Niner Gang is on our side. Sam got those hospital balls. Best luck. I disagree. I would not bring Chase Young back for.
No, don't bring him back.
He had his opportunity to play as hard as possible and did not show up.
Look, the fact that all he has is like the only visit he's gotten today so far is the Titans. That's it. No one else has been reported.
Speaking of the Titans, I'm so mad that the freaking 49ers didn't get Aziz, and instead he's going to D'Amico, which totally makes sense. He'll be good there, but...
No, he got paid. There's no way the Niners were signing him. Like, even I should have known, like, mine was such a pipe dream. It was such a pipe dream.
We were all talking about it. We thought potentially it could be happening. No?
Yeah, but he got, like, double what I thought he would get. He got double what I thought he would get, so I was far off. Shows what the hell I know. I was far off.
Do you think that they're going to draft any? I know that they restructured Fred Warner's contract. What do you think they're going to do? Are they going to put Oren Burks? I know that they retained him. That was their big, woo, we re-signed Oren Burks. What are they going to be doing?
I saw they did George Odom. They did Oren Burks too?
That's who I meant, actually, to be honest. I always think they're the same player.
Because they're both they both get touted as the special teams key player. That's why. When they both got signed, like literally
which one did they do?
Day or back-to-back days, and they're both touted as amazing special teams players. So that's why probably you get confused by them.
Which one did they sign again? Not Oren Burks?
George Odom, the safety.
George Odom. Okay, see, that makes sense because I tagged you know Chris on Twitter, East Bay Chris, and he like has that like pretend fan club for Oren Burks. When they re-signed George Odom, I like tagged him and I was like, your guy, and he didn't say anything, and he's probably like, wrong guy, Ashley, wrong guy. So good.
I'm not sure who you're talking about, to be honest.
I just get those two mixed up a lot. That's all. The other thing that I saw I wasn't sure. I thought you were gonna. Oh wait, I want DJ Jones back. And
he might not even be getting released though.
Yeah, I think that the Broncos, what's your opinion? Hi, Niner Gang, we talked about this earlier. We both said a little bit underwhelming. He ranks 12th against the run, so pretty good as a run stopper, but very underwhelming in pretty much every other facet. He will be a good number 2, but definitely isn't a replacement for.
He's just like a rotational guy for like base defense.
More of a replacement for Kinlaw, right?
It just doesn't need to be like critically analyzed. Like, to be honest, like that's another thing about free agency. Like, not everything needs like a thinking cap on. It's just like, okay, cool, like a depth piece. Like, this is what free agency for. It gets your like middling key role players, like the Arden Keys of the past, the men who was traded, the Samson Abicams. Like, get those guys. Like, cool. And they'll give you, like I said, like 1 to 3 impactful plays a game, or maybe they'll have like a couple 2 explosion games out of nowhere. Yeah, this is what it's for. Like, I feel like everyone who's trying to like do all this extra stuff, like, oh, you did this and that. I think you like, shut up, you don't know. Like, relax. Like, just say it's like he was a fine player or a bad player or whatever, and just like, I don't know. That's just the way I view it. It's like, bro, because when we get to the season, this guy is like, odds are he's likely not going to be that dude, or like that.
He's gonna
be like, oh yeah, he's a fine like depth player. A replaceable guy. Which, guess what? Who's he replacing? Javon Kinlaw, the replaceable guy. There's always these replaceable pieces at every position, and so that's what they have.
Mr. Corey says we've literally have 0 defensive tackles. It's a good signing.
Yeah, it's a necessary signing. There's a difference.
Yeah, necessary. I don't think we're saying like. I think all we're talking about
it's just the signing.
It's not like a.
It's just the signing. Anyone who's feeling like so harshly one way or the other, like, come on.
The Kinlaw replacement.
He's a rotational guy. So yeah, so like you said, Mayoko said, "Oh, there's gonna be another group." Like, yeah, no shit, Matt. Of course, I see the position groups. They have no one. They got to fill someone. They're gonna draft and they're gonna have to fill another thing. Like, I know that.
I thought this one was kind of interesting. 49ers over-investing in defensive line is coming back to bite them. And now, of course, they can keep focusing on defensive line insanity. I think when you're talking about this comment, the real issue is that they haven't drafted well at this position, and guys that they have signed either are good for 1 year and they go out and get better contracts, or are bad, so the Niners don't want to retain them. So, because if you think about a guy like Drake Jackson, that's someone I think they hoped would end up being a bookend on the other side of Nick Bosa, and he
even
wasn't.
Chase Young,
so then they went out and got Chase Young.
Kinlaw, all these players that you invested are gone now. So now it's like, well, yeah, no duh, you gotta go to free agency and find all these guys. Like, you have to fill. You literally have to fill a roster. OTAs is in a month and a half. So you literally have to fill a roster. So I don't know who else you're gonna get. I could probably take a look real quick, but like it's just fill them up. But I'm sure the thing is about 49ers is they do know how to assess and get the most out of these free agent defensive tackles. So that'd be the one thing that's like good. Like, they do have an eye for that. Maybe not necessarily like drafting wise, like you said, but in terms of like players who are coming from other teams, they have a sure good knack of that. They really do. But yeah, if they go defensive line first round, again, like I'm scared. I do not trust this team because I don't even give them credit for Nick Bosa. Like, that was a no-brainer. My freaking mom would have watched football would have picked him. Like, come on, dude.
He was gonna go first overall if the Cardinals didn't try to get Kyler Murray.
Yeah, like it was anyone would have took a Nick Bosa. Anyone, even with like it's just this team does not know how to draft first round. I'd argue they don't know how to draft the first 3 rounds. You got Deebo Samuel, cool. Ayuk, cool. Fred Warner, cool.
Do you think it's weird that they haven't asked Deebo Samuel to take a salary reduction in the same way that they have Armstead and Juice? Check? Or no?
No, because they still could. There's no rush to do it yet. I think Juice for sure, because it's like, why do you need?
Why haven't they restructured like Travarius Ward and stuff? I know that they restructured Fred Warner.
They restructured it last year.
Earlier this, but I think that they could have done it again.
They could do it again, yeah, because they restructured Fred Warner again. Fred Warner, you do it again because he's a no-brainer that you feel comfortable locking in for the next 3-4 years, right? Like he's still pretty young. He's an All-Pro, like, of course. Travarius Ward, All-Pro. I think if anything, yeah. Well, again, I think they're just working like the totem pole, like Fred Warner
really
first.
Quick, I just don't want to burst this guy's bubble. Kalia Davis not going to work out. Don't hold your breath on that one. Yeah, it's not like I was just reading that and I was like, that's not gonna be a thing. Defense was at its best when we had depth.
Yeah, it was.
I think that's why they're looking at a lot of these middle tier guys versus putting all the money in the more expensive guys.
That 2021 year, remember they had Menahu, Ebukam, Arden Key. I think I'm missing someone else. Like, I remember they're getting good adequate from Eric Armstead, Givens, and someone else too. But yeah, they had fantastic like production from that. That 2021 year was Nick Bosa and platoon system. That was amazing. But yeah, even though they had depth, again, like they still, like I said, they had someone like an Arden Key to stand out. Like, he had 6.5 sacks. So you're hoping Leonard Floyd can do that. Like, if he gives you like that 9 to 10.
Yeah, Leonard Floyd seems like he was a good signing. I thought that was a good signing. I don't think maybe it's not Danielle Hunter, which is what people were like hoping for, but money wise, I felt like that was a good signing. He had really good production.
You can't assign like 2 like premier defensive ends. Like, what defense has that? No one does.
Chiefs had it for a little bit with
Frank Clark wasn't making like that crazy money. He wasn't even that good. He was not premier. He was overpaid. If
Okay,
anyone,
okay.
the only team that has it now, not even the Raiders have it. They have Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby, but those aren't edge
No, they
rushers.
just signed. Who did they just sign? Kristen. Oh, wait, yeah, you just said it.
Christian Wilkins, yeah, but that's two different positions, so that's not edge and edge. And the second thing is Max Crosby took. God, the Raiders finessed the hell out of him on
Yeah.
that deal. He's getting
Fire his agent and go sign Kirk Cousins' agent.
If Brock Purdy's number one, the most bargain deal in the NFL, Max Crosby has to be number two. Because what the hell? When he's due for an extension after this year or two, like he needs to like tell them to give him like ownership or something, like 2% ownership, because the team discount he took on that thing was ridiculous. But yeah,
Crazy.
Leonard Floyd,
Absolutely
fine.
crazy.
I don't mind it. I just wonder, like, when I looked through the thing, I was like, wow, he's been 9 sacks last 4 years. Like, okay. But my thing is always like, how many of those are cleanup sacks? Like, what was that? Like, what? Like, are you just like the cleanup man? Because like you get a little credit for that, but it's not like you're necessarily the one who's outright being the disruptor and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
what is he? But maybe that might be good enough for the 49ers, because like I've always said, like the 49ers have needed.
I feel like they've been hoping, like a lot of the guys. When we talk about Chase Young and Jackson, I think they were hoping like just
They might see Leonard Floyd. Like if Leonard Floyd was in those positions as those guys, he probably gets like at least a few more sacks. So yeah. Remember when Chase Young got traded? Young had like a sack and a half or 2 sacks more than Nick Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
And Bosa ended up finishing the year with 4 more sacks than him.
That was a disappointing one. Now, I do want to touch on, because a lot of people are talking about the defensive line, or not the defensive line, but the O-line. It's an okay signing, but O-line should be the focus. And then no quality offensive linemen make it to free agency unless you want to pay $20 million for a guard. And so that's kind of what I was gonna say, like in response to people
stay away from free agency
saying
on
that
the guards.
The 49ers are like more focused on defensive linemen. My anticipation was always that they were going to target more defense in free agency and then use their first round pick and maybe even trade up to get an offensive lineman in the draft. And then I mean, I would be happy if they used their first 2 picks on offensive linemen. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but that's kind of, as a fan, what I was hoping they would do. So I'm not super disappointed that they haven't targeted the offensive line in free agency so far. Fans have to remember this is only like half the process. I think when you see other teams making all these moves, you're like, oh, I want to be in on it and stuff. But like,
it's only been 2 days of free agency too. Not even the second day of free agency isn't over yet. There's still a long ways. Like always, the first 3 days of free agency is usually like the first like tier 1 and tier 2 guys that are always like commanding the most. And by the time it's like that Thursday or Friday, that's when even like if Daniil Hunter's still unsigned there, that's when it's like, okay, dude, your value's done, because then you would have been signed already, like a Christian Wilkins was immediately as soon as the free agency started. So I think that's where the 49ers are really going to have that advantage and really be able to hone in, like look for those guys. And remember, there's still the case of Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack being released out there.
No,
one of them are getting released.
No,
I'm hoping it's Khalil Mack, because I would love for that to be the signing. Just don't bring Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa stinks.
No Joey Bosa. Floyd, third down pass rusher. Well, it just depends. When he was with the Rams, he played every single down. Every snap.
That's the scary part. If he's just a pass rush specialist, cool. That's a little rich for your buck for that money. But if you do get some rundowns from him, like he might be someone that run at.
I like what Leon is saying. All these guys are really solid run blockers. That was our biggest weakness, so I can't complain. And he's right about that.
Ooh.
That's where the 49ers struggled the least last year. They went from like, what was it, 5th in stopping the run to like 26th or something in the regular season. They sucked at stopping the run blockers.
Run blockers is offensive line.
He might not be saying it right, but I think he means
that sounds
stopping
weird.
the run.
Run blocking the Niners were okay. Run defense was, there was like,
I think that's what
there was inconsistency there, obviously, especially in the playoffs.
Yes, I agree. Fish and Chips does counter that and says, don't expect Floyd to stop the run.
Floyd to stop the run. Elliott, sure, fine. Nice little boulder there. Who's the other? I can't even pronounce the other guy's name, the guy from Carolina. He should probably, you know what probably happen? Yeah. It'll be the Ebicam of the 49ers, where he comes early on base downs, or the Cleveland Farrell now base downs, maybe gets you some quality pass rushing snaps with Floyd. That'll be interesting.
Gross Matos I'm just not even gonna try to pronounce his first name.
When the
Close
49ers when it was announced 49ers signed him, I was like, who? Who? Who is this guy? At least Jordan Elliott I've kind of heard of a little bit because maybe that's because I did watch some Browns games, but I didn't watch a single Carolina game. I haven't.
Just clarifying for
time.
you, Jose, by the way. You made him insecure.
Okay, that's what we figured then.
I'm just kidding. By the way, Leon, I understood your comment. Don't worry about it. I agree though. Hell no on Joey Bosa. Did you see Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa's mom on Instagram posting pictures of Joey Bosa in 49ers uniforms, posting pictures of both of her sons together with the caption, "Can't wait for my sons to be on the same team." I mean, she was just going hard on the Instagram stories.
Well, of course, that's her mom. She wants to see her two sons play together. I'm sure Travis and Jason Kelsey's mother would have loved that to have happened at one point. But no, if you're the 49ers, stay away from this. Like, I know it's cute and all, but no.
No.
Yeah, unless he wants to play for really
That's
cheap.
such a thing with fans. Why do like everyone wants them to sign
Frank
Jerry
Gore.
Rice is Frank Gore.
Jerry Rice Jr., like you said. There's
Jerry
someone
Rice
else too.
Jr.,
Luke McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. I just want the best players. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Now, and I have heard that Luke McCaffrey is good, but I'm just saying.
Nah, just go somewhere else. Yeah, because really, if you're talking about any Chargers pass rusher the Niners should want, it should be
pressure. Like, if you're the son of Frank Gore, do you really want to go on the 49ers and have to deal with that pressure too? That's a whole other thing.
He probably wouldn't think about pressure. He probably think that'd be sick. Like, cool, I get to go where my dad went, continue on the Gore legacy.
Okay, you're right. Maybe that's true. O-line depth in the draft is pretty deep. I agree. I know that Marco and I have talked a lot about this. He had 9 starters in the first round that he felt were of like that caliber. And I don't know how far they could get up if they traded their first and their second. But I think if you can get to like 20, you could probably get a good starter. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Do you think they'll draft worse or better now that Adam Peters is gone?
I think you asked me this last week, and I said I think it'll be the same.
I think they want a whole team of pure defensive linemen.
Defensive line in every position.
That's definitely what Kyle Shanahan wants. I have a separate funny question to ask you. I saw you, I think you were quote tweeting some stuff, but Jimmy Garoppolo is set to be
we talked about this last.
Jimmy Garoppolo is set to be cut. I was waiting for your article on it, and it did not.
I chickened out, okay, but now I might write it since everyone's like literally rocking with it.
People are talking about it.
God, even now as I look, I'm like everything's like kind of some dude's trying to be like a little freaking Debbie Downer, like it's not happening. Stop trying to stir shit up, and it's like, shut up. What are you gonna do about it? God, but anyways.
First of all, are you surprised that Sam Darnold is getting a chance to start at the Vikings? I didn't feel like he showed enough to get that position. But right now, the only backup quarterback that the 49ers have is Brandon Allen.
Good.
And no, Jose.
Yes, I said this last week. I said this last week, and this is exactly what happened too. Thank God. Guess what? That's all that's going to happen, and they're going to draft someone. Because you know why? Stop valuing the freaking backup quarterback position. How many teams who make the playoffs had a backup quarterback for multiple games and made it? Just the Browns.
Is that true?
It is true. Now, if you want to get into semantics, okay, Matthew Stafford missed one game. Okay, cool, one game. Who cares? I'm talking about multiple games because my thing is if your quarterback's out for multiple games or the season, you're done. It's over.
True.
It's over.
Really quickly,
one game.
Really quickly, do you think that the Rams maybe are going to have a new advantage on the 49ers? I think 49ers have always had size on the Rams. The Rams beefed up, talking about there not being a lot of offensive linemen. The Rams beefed up their offensive line so far in free agency. If Cooper Kupp comes back healthy, they have Puka Nacua, still have Stafford. I don't know. Do you think the Rams got better? Like if we're looking in division, 40 so far have been
definitely gonna be a scary team.
It's hard to do this because free agency isn't over, but just so far looks like the Seahawks are stuck down. Rams stuck up, and Rams did better than everyone anticipated last year. So do you think that they'll do even better than that? I don't know. Sean McVay is impressive. I feel like doesn't get the hype that Kyle Shanahan gets, and he should get that.
I've
Or is
always
that a
liked.
49ers perspective? Do you think he actually does get a good amount of hype or no?
Oh, he does. He definitely does. And honestly, I've always liked McVay more than Kyle Shanahan, to be honest. Like, I'll take him as a play caller over Kyle Shanahan. But I think it's because I like a little more of a little more of his passing than he does, and I think he's shown more able to adapt his offense differently. But yeah, back on Jimmy G, because you're off topic ass. What's new?
Going to the CFL. I don't know. Fish and Chip said Rams will try to make one more road trip out of Stafford. Oh, when I was starting this comment, I thought that they were going to say they were going to try to make one more run with Stafford. I think that that's what
Probably
they
that's what he
should do.
means. Road trip. I don't know.
Me neither.
From one more run at
Do you
Stafford,
think
that
the
makes sense.
49ers are going to have like maybe a bigger time or worse time stacking against the Rams though? Because they lost a lot of their defensive talent, and now the Rams beefing up their offensive line. It was already kind of a struggle going against them. I feel like 49er fans, we should start trying to build our team to beat the Chiefs. And I think the Rams maybe are starting to say, hey, like the 49ers are a pain in our ass. Maybe we should start stacking our team to beat the 49ers.
Well, the best way
They've
for the
not passed
49ers to
us, and
beat
then
the
they win the
Chiefs
Super
is
Bowl.
to best way for the 49ers to beat the Chiefs is to shore up that interior offensive line. Because in both Super Bowls, that's what literally like stuck out in both run and pass blocking. So let's try to work on that.
Joel says we need to stock up on our O-line. More of our offensive line is our weak link so far. Okay, that's a question I would love to ask you. Maybe I should type that in. What do you think is the best side of the 49ers right now? The offense or defense? And by the way, what was your opinion on JJ? Second round tender, worth it?
JJ. Oh, well, yeah, that was expected. I've been on here. I told you, like, I think that's
No,
expected.
you told me that you thought that maybe that was too much for him.
I said that's a little weird considering the aspect of you're going to pay your number 3 wide receiver and your 6th featured option. And we went through his stats. He had 19 catches. Like, that's weird, but I think they're probably going to do it anyways because it's like, what are you going to do? Let him go? Like, that makes no sense.
It's interesting. I think they're gonna go O-line in the draft. I also think they're gonna go tight end in the draft, and then probably get their backup quarterback in the draft. So it seems like mostly they're doing offense draft wise. Is that just the way that free agency is shaking out this year?
Maybe. I saw a tweet that said, I don't know who said this, but like, and I actually thought about it first too, but someone actually like said the words that I couldn't think of or formulate. And it's because usually free agency running backs, like that's not usually a first, second, or even third day thing. Like usually there's like 1 or 2, but now like 6 to 8 that have been signed. Like that's crazy to me. And someone said like, wow, I'm really surprised that this has been, and they said it too. I'm surprised that there's been this much of a run on for running backs. And that means it's probably an indictment on the upcoming running backs in the draft. I'm like, oh, wow, that's actually a great way to look at it. I agree. I think that's why, too. So if you want to apply that logic to the 49ers, why are they going defensive line? Well, obviously they need it because they need to fill out the freaking position. But number 2, I think they like what they have at defensive line now in terms of free agency, and then they'll go offensive line because like how you and Marco have looked it over, because I haven't really looked it over that much. I'm not a big like draft guy like 2 months before it. I usually ramp it up once free agency dies down.
It's like 40
yeah, it seems like in mock drafts and everything I've seen, like there's a ton of like immediate starters on offensive line, which is good because the 49ers, I think this draft, they're going to really look for more immediate starters than someone who's like, okay, he's a decent guy and we could probably get more out of him. I think everything's going to be like, what can you do for us now? Like lower, like higher floor, lower ceiling type of guy. So yeah, I think that would do for offensive line. You go for a guard maybe or a tackle. It all depends. But and also number 3, I think why it's not so much of offensive line adjustment in the free agency is you see how much these guards are getting paid. Like, holy crap, that's a lot of freaking money. Like, let's just draft a guy who will get paid way less than that and isn't that much of a drop off from what these guys are getting paid. Because it makes sense why guards are getting paid. Like, interior pass rush is a freaking thing. It's been a thing for the last, like, it's been ascending. Honestly, I feel like it's been ascending so heavily ever since 2019. Like, I feel like it's really taken upon itself with Donald obviously being the Kickstarter, with Buckner and Armstead being those great forces, with Chris Jones. And, like, now all these defensive tackles are really becoming, like, a huge proponent of what defenses want. Not as much like edge rushers, right? At least I feel like it is. And I feel like maybe the defensive tackle who's at the top of his game is even more valuable. But yeah, I think in terms of like why the 49ers are looking at that side, that's why it makes more sense.
Yes.
In terms of which side is stronger, shoot. Man, that's rough now because now it feels like the defensive line's not finished, so that's
Yeah.
kind of hard to tell right
And they
now.
haven't addressed the O-line yet. That's why I feel like people are really judging this project before it's done. So my biggest beef is the defense was not the reason that we lost the Super Bowl. It was O-line. So why focus on something that wasn't broke? Defense is so much easier to draft. I don't know if that's
I don't know
true.
what you're basing that on.
Yeah. Warner, Greenlaw, Huff, DJ Jones were all late.
Now show the other
So
defensive players they missed on. I bet you it's way
yeah, so
3 times
they've
that.
definitely missed on a lot, especially high round draft picks for the defense. Also, I think I don't know how to say this. They were gonna lose those defensive players no matter what. Like they weren't signed. So they
These
have
moves
to
exactly. These
like you
moves is
have to
not prepared
fill
for the
the
Super Bowl.
spot. You have to fill the spot. So you're either gonna fill it in free agency or the draft. So if they felt like there's more of like a lot of people in the comments have been talking about maybe they want more of that depth, those middle tier players, maybe they felt like they could get more of those guys at a reasonable price in free agency. You have to like they were gonna people in their head, they're like, there's so many defensive linemen. They were losing like 8 defensive linemen,
Randy
and you
Gregory,
have
Chase
to
Young, Clelin Ferrell, Javon Kinlaw, Kevin Givens is still a free agent. That's 5. That's a lot of
Sebastian
players.
Joseph Day, Cleveland Farrell.
Joseph Day,
That's
6th.
7. Yeah.
I already said Clelin.
Um,
That's
okay.
6 or 7. That's still a lot. Even if it was 5, that's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not. This is
So
not a causation of the Super Bowl. It has nothing to do with that. It's literally
you just
because
have
it's
to
free agency,
replace
dude. We
those guys.
lost these
Like,
guys. They either didn't want to come at a number we wanted them, or we didn't want them back, or they wanted to change the scenery. There's always these 3 things that happen in free agency, and people got to forget. Like, yo, like you guys remember these players have a choice too, right? Maybe Kinlaw wanted to change the scenery. Like me and you thought, like, okay, maybe he wants to stay on because he finally got together, maybe more comfortable.
yeah.
Probably the case was I'd rather go somewhere else, start a new leap, and keep this momentum going. And he goes to the Jets. You know, he spent his rookie year, Robert Saleh.
Get away
Maybe he
from
likes that
someone.
thing. Clinton Farrell went to the Commanders, got a little more, I think, money than he got from the 49ers last year. He definitely got, I think he got a little more. Might have got almost like an extra mil with incentives, I think. So yeah, maybe the 49ers didn't want him that like it's all who knows, you know, until you ask them, until you view that way. And even then, you don't really know.
So it's just important for people to recognize. By the way, someone says, "Is Joseph Day still here? A free agent? He's a free agent."
Free agent.
So that's why, like, when you're seeing that there is a lot of defensive players coming in, the 49ers just lost. A lot of their defensive linemen were on 1-year deals. So you just have to replace those no matter what. It doesn't mean that the team is saying this is our weakness. They're just saying we have to fill these spots, and maybe they feel like it's easier to fill those in free agents with veterans, especially when you're looking.
Free agency is the phase of the off season that you address your needs. And then the draft, I've always been a proponent of this. You go best player available in the draft. So that's why I'm saying the first round, 49ers, I'm at the point where, like, I don't care what position you get. Just get someone who's going to be an immediate impact starter anywhere, corner, safety, I don't care. Get that just so you can finally stop whiffing, because I'm tired of you guys doing this. It's annoying. And this is why you guys keep having these depth issues like you have now on the defensive line. But yeah, I think you got to go for the knee because you got to obviously fill out your position groups. You got to have a number of players.
You have 52 players on the roster.
You got to, and plus you got to build your contingencies too of areas that like hey, and just because they're addressing that doesn't mean they won't do it in the draft. Like this is for need and contingencies.
And then I'm saying O-line is much harder to find late in the draft. What O-line have we found late in the draft? I have 2
offensive tackles are hard to find late in the draft. Everyone else is easy.
Also, like we literally did do that.
You can get day 2, day 3 starters as a guard.
Also, the 49ers have first and second round picks. So like they're going to use I mean, I'm hoping maybe they won't, and then fans can be fair. But if they use that first and second round pick or trade up and use those 2 picks on an offensive lineman, that's like, I think that's the hard part is like fans don't know what's going to be utilized yet. So you can say like, not you, but someone can say right now, like, oh, they're not valuing the offensive line. And it's like, well, maybe they just already plan to address that elsewhere.
That's part of the overreaction to this crap.
Look at the offensive linemen who are available and how much they cost. everyone remembers when Michael McGlinchey, who the 49ers did not want to re-sign, like he was not worth the money that the Broncos gave him. Like that's the type of guy that's going to be available. You know what I mean? Like teams aren't letting good offensive linemen go for the most part. So
yeah, because you always got to think like they're free agents for a reason. That's always number one. And then number two, it's look again. The second day of free agency isn't even over yet. Like it's not officially over until 3 hours from now. Not even.
Now, I will say if there was
news breaking at 9:00 p.m. last night with Sam Darnold. I was over there writing an article, and I'm like, God damn! I didn't think news was still going to be getting released at this late.
That article that you put out was really late too. I saw that.
And guess what? Free agency technically hasn't officially begun. This is just the tampering period, the negotiating period. It hasn't officially begun yet. So again, we're not even 2 days into it. So let's not overreact. Let's wait. Usually it's always good to wait after the first 2 weeks. But it's no, okay, first 2 to 10 days. That's when it's like, okay, that's when it's like free agency is really starting to die down.
Really quickly, just because I wanted to check to see if there was any breaking news while you were talking about breaking news. And this isn't breaking news, but it's a tweet that has over 500 likes and interactions on it. How many 49ers fans would welcome the idea of trading a second-round pick to the Chicago Bears for Justin Fields to compete with Brock Purdy? Why does stuff like this go viral? No one is trading for Justin Fields.
Because it's the offseason. It's the same reason why, like, when I say Jimmy G, people like to talk about it. It's the offseason. It's boring. People like to play with ideas, hypotheticals. The Justin Fields thing is like a second-round pick. That thing is stupid. If any team had offered the Bears a second-round pick, the Bears would have done that.
They would have done it by now.
The fact that he has not been traded shows you what everyone's saying.
QB class is crazy, right? Because Mac Jones is going to go back
up. The worst quarterback class of all time.
Mac Jones is going to go back up. Trevor Lawrence. Where's Zach Wilson going? Does anyone know? Still in the draft?
Yeah, he's going to McDonald's. That's where he's going.
4th string. Then we're going to have 49ers ex-QB competition with potentially Sam Darnold and Trey Lance if he ends up going to Minnesota. That could be hilarious. But yeah, chances of them drafting a running back, I don't even want to acknowledge that at all right now. So yes, Fields for 5th, 3rd.
A Fields, 5th rounder?
No, Fields can't throw a football. Sorry.
I just don't get why if the Niners didn't like I would not entertain that one.
Hi, Marco. By the way, when I sent you the link, I accidentally sent it to Marco, and Marco is such a champ that he thought that maybe I just got it wrong, or and he was like driving and tried to join. He was like, okay, and I was like, oh, my bad. I just didn't mean.
Wow, you sent it to him thinking that it was me? Is that kind of a racist thing right there?
It's just like
you're getting your Mexicans mixed up?
It's fucked up. No, I was just like the first it was just like the most recent what is it, message in my little thing. Like you and Marco are right next to each other. Not to just show everyone my DMs. But my DMs are just like me sending people links. So anyways. She said same.
Exactly. That's what she said.
This is fucked up. Bears, Fields has a laser. No. We're not gonna. I don't think that the Fields conversation is very worth it. I think
the league is literally telling you what they think of him.
I have a question. If you had the choice between drafting a quarterback in round 6 or round 7 or trading for Fields, what one would you do?
Draft.
Yeah, me too. I kind of think so
Fields is gonna be more
especially like Brian Greasy, freaking he's the one that got Brock Purdy, right? Like give him another opportunity. Do you imagine?
Fields is gonna be more money and just and that's gonna create unnecessary like attention that the 49ers do not want at quarterback. Like leave that alone.
Fields to the XFL before Kyle lets him hold the ball for 8 seconds and take sacks or misreads.
How like coming here like the whole idea like why?
That would be like the comedy of because you know you were just saying that once you go to your backup quarterback it's all screwed anyways. So honestly, I kind of love the idea of Fields being on the team and just being able to like have the camera watching Kyle Shanahan.
But that's you as a content creator for chaos.
Hands up in the air, like freaking out. That would kind of be hilarious. No quarterback could flourish on the Bears, not even with Purdy. I agree, but the Bears, I don't know. I'm not super disappointed with their new coaching regime. I thought that bringing in the guy from the Panthers was a good idea. Bringing in, he was on the same team as he was on the Washington Commanders with Chase Young. They brought in a defensive guy. They ended up winning games. I thought that you know,
They were not
not
a bad
not as
team. Get the offensive
yeah.
coordinator Luke Getsy was definitely a
If you
quack.
watch the Bears and you watch Justin Fields, the Bears suck. Justin Fields would have a guy right in front of him and like stare at the guy and then fake the ball and then like run in 3 circles and then fall down. Like it just there were some things that just
Justin
like
Fields is just not
weren't.
good. But if you're a team that needs a quarterback, like why not like
Montez Sweat was the
take
guy
a
that I was
fly at him?
talking
But
about.
like look, like no one wants him. Like he's just not good. I thought he'd be better.
If
He's
someone
just not.
wanted him, he'd be on a different team right now, right? Like
Exactly.
that's
He'd be on a different team. But teams would rather have Kirk Cousins coming off a torn Achilles. What does that say about Fields?
yeah, that's scary. I can't believe the Falcons. What's up with them? They paid Charlie Warner and Kirk Cousins. What are they doing? Is that going to be a? Do they get to the playoffs this year?
Oh yeah, they definitely get there. They'll win that division.
They didn't get there last year. They had like
They didn't get there last year, and because their head coach is the biggest idiot in the freaking league after Brandon
who did they
Staley and Josh
hire again? I
McDaniels.
forgot. Yeah, because they
Arthur
never
Smith.
used their
All the
their
underutilization of Bijan Robinson, Drake London,
yeah
and they
yeah
had the worst quarterback in the league in Desmond Ritter. So they had those two, and they were literally out of the playoffs. They were in the playoff race until the second week of the season, I think. The second season, the week 16, week 17. So now you're going to get a massive upgrade at quarterback, and I'd like to think a little bit of an upgrade with the head coach. Playoffs 10-7.
Okay, 10-7.
10-7.
All right. I don't know. I don't
Tennessee's
know
not
about
good.
that. I think you're right. You're right. Are you?
They
Do you
might
think
go
it was a
6-0
good
in
move?
that division.
Do you think it was a good move? Speaking of bad divisions, of Tampa Bay to re-sign Baker. Have I ever
No, it
told you
makes
my
sense.
dad
I
is like
mean,
a
he was
random
actually a fine
Baker
quarterback.
Mayfield fan?
He was like
I
a
thought Baker did
15-ish
well.
like quarterback in the league. Like you can win
Yeah.
with him. Like they might get to the playoffs, maybe depending on how the NFC looks. They got Mike Evans back. Like, look, the offense was decent. I mean, if you're them, like, what other options do you have? Like, you're not in a position to draft a quarterback.
True.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, just say no. We'll just cough it up this year. We'll just ruin this year and not be competitive and not see what we have. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're kind of forced. You're kind of forced to do these moves. Just like Dak Prescott. Like, was he worth all that money? Probably not. Well, I don't think he is. But it's like that's the cost of doing business for quarterbacks. And what's your next alternative? Just like next year, Brock Purdy looks as good as he did this year and a little better. He's probably going to be that 50+ million. He's probably going to topple Kirk Cousins' contract. Why? Because that's the cost of doing business. And what else are you going to do? What are your answers at quarterback? And do you trust the 49ers look for another quarterback? I don't, because they lucked into this one. They lucked into this one.
I agree. Okay, I have a question. Do you think that Brock Purdy is going to be worth that amount of money? And do you think that this is the last year for the 49ers to be able to win a Super Bowl if Brock Purdy's about to get paid like $50 million?
I don't think it's the last year, and I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I think they might.
See, freaking me and Marco are on the same page right here.
If you told me you get the same, a little better version of Brock from this past season, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Because what are your options then? If you're good, I mean, they're going to be a playoff team for sure, barring 2020 version of them.
Especially just to prevent Kyle Shanahan from freaking drafting quarterbacks, because he's not good at that.
Well, not so much that, but it's like, look, you make the playoffs, you'll probably win a playoff game, maybe 2, or maybe you do go to the Super Bowl again, especially if Brock does ascend more than just a little bit. What do you do then? You're kind of forced to do that. Yeah.
If they miss the playoffs, do you think that they move on from him? I don't think that there's an option for them to not pay him. Is
the only way they
even
go
if they're a first round exit. If they're a first round exit, I think that they'll have to pay Brock. I can't imagine a scenario where they don't pay him.
Yeah, I think the only way they don't is
scary, because you don't want to be stuck in QB purgatory or whatever.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you're you're saying, if Brock keeps up his level of production, then I don't think that that's actually that bad for him. I know maybe that's a controversial take, but I think
Now,
Brock is a little better than people give him
now
credit for.
thinking he's worth it, okay, and that's when it's like I'll hear you on that if you don't
Worth
think he's
it
worth
is
it.
relative, right? Like you have to go off of Dak Prescott is getting that. Like, you know what I mean? Like
It's unfortunately the cost of the business.
worth it is
Okay, say he's
yeah.
not worth it. You ask him to take less. It doesn't work. Okay, well, you're gonna sign someone to free agency. I don't know who's gonna be a free agent. You're gonna trade for someone. That's not. That never works. Actually, number one, when you trade quarterbacks, and
Also, Jesus, someone would trade for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy could get a first round pick right now if they wanted it. Brock Purdy, if the 49ers don't pay him next year, someone else will pay him. Kirk Cousins, who's like 80 years old and coming off an Achilles, just got paid like $400 million.
you don't understand how the market works. Then the way the market works
It's
is
not like
Brock Purdy's
the
next. You're gonna be like,
conversation
hey, look at these
isn't
contracts.
is he better than Patrick Mahomes and does he deserve a deal better than Patrick Mahomes? Everyone here has brains. We know that he's not, that level of, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes.
But that's quarterback market.
Yeah,
It
but that's
looks
just how it is.
huge on paper. I get it.
Everything is relative.
Like 50
Some
million
of
is
it
like
was just a salary
exactly. You
increase.
said it perfectly right. But like, remember this: Debo Samuel got more guarantees than DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. Who's the better player of those three? AJ Brown is, right? I think it's undoubtedly like anyone would take AJ Brown over Debo Samuel. It's not named Kyle Shanahan, and he got more than him. Why? Because he was the last receiver signed.
Yeah.
The market speaks for itself. It's not what we think. It's literally what it says, and there's no
That's why
denying
they
it.
should be paying Brandon Ayuk right now, because once CeeDee Lamb gets paid, I don't think that whatever JJ makes, I don't think that will affect Brandon Ayuk, because I think he is in a different class. But like CeeDee Lamb and stuff, if I was the Niners, I'd rather pay Brandon Ayuk before him, because I think that there's certain receivers that you can go off of. So when you're thinking about a Brock Purdy, he's going to be comparing himself to like a Dak Prescott who's going to get paid, because they're all in that same caliber. I think maybe when some people hear that number, they think that but they think that content creators and media or whatever are saying that like Brock Purdy is as good as Patrick Mahomes. No, you're just basing it off of other people who play your position around your like similar level as you. So
because what's the other option? Again, you're gonna go in free agency. You're gonna draft one.
I'm interested in this. With a franchise tag, 49ers basically have Purdy under control for the next 3 years for $90 million. It won't be $50 million. I don't think that they'll franchise tag him. I think that they'll extend him.
If he does his job, yeah. If he does his job, yeah, they'll do it. They'll extend him.
Yeah.
I like the 3 years idea. That way you're not like totally invested so heavily in the future.
Yeah.
I don't think you would do something like a 5-6 year.
We haven't really seen Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch get to this part of their like regime yet, right? So like a lot of things we're kind of hypothesizing on how they would act. I was anticipating that they would not let a guy like Eric Armstead go. I did think that they'd ask Kyle Juszczyk to take a pay cut, but it is kind of, maybe they're a little bit more cutthroat than we thought, and maybe they will be like, Purdy, you're playing on the franchise tag, or we're not extending you. I don't know. I think I had a little bit of we're a team type of vibe from them, but maybe Kyle Shanahan is a little more cutthroat than we thought.
I think maybe they just assessed it because they get most of that cap savings after June 1st, right? Because he's going to be a post June 1st if they do go through with cutting Eric Armstead. And those cap savings that cash savings, they probably see like, hey, we're better off putting this money into an extension for Brandon Ayuk than just like holding out. And we'll take the dead cap hit from Eric Armstead because the guy misses like at multiple games every year. And we have no hope that he's going to be healthy again next year. Like
anyone who thought that Brock Purdy was better than Mahomes. Come on now. We can all like the 49ers and be proud of Brock Purdy's success and not say ridiculous things. Also, Mr. Corgi was pointing out that they can't draft, and he was listing different positions. They've been bad at drafting, just in general. No, position group aside, they have been bad at drafting. 49ers Poker says, I agree they will extend him, but franchise tag will set up cap on how much money he can ask for. Purdy will get less because his salary is so low right now. They will extend him, but it will be for less. I'm not a cap guru. I just anticipate that whatever he gets will be like.
If he plays better than he did this past year,
I think he's going to want more because he's been so cheap.
If he's paid,
Yeah,
yeah.
you were just saying that with Max Crosby. Like Max Crosby next time is gonna be like, all right, I gave you a deal before. Now I want paid. I feel like that's gonna be Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's agent is writing this shit down. Remember before the Super Bowl when Jed York came through and said Brock Purdy is the franchise quarterback and saving the organization and whatever else? Brock Purdy's agent was listening to that and going, writing all that down. And then they're going to come to the table and be very, very interesting. There was some people in the chat talking about different backup quarterbacks that they thought the 49ers should get, and I was going to bring it up, but I think it was Jacoby Brissett or something.
He got signed to the Patriots.
As a starter?
He got signed to the Patriots. I don't know if he's going to start.
Well, who's starting for the Patriots? I'm so interested in... I don't think he necessarily will put up bigger numbers because he literally was breaking records last year, but I think there's a way, because this is an interesting question and people are asking this last year, like during the season. Do you think that Brock Purdy can get better? My response is I think his stats can stay the same or even get worse, but eye level he could get better. Because I thought he improved. Well, I don't know, he went down a little bit in the playoffs, but towards the end of the year, I thought his O-line really broke down. And when I rewatched that Super Bowl, I was more impressed with him the second time around watching it than I was the first time. Because I thought that O-line did a really bad job.
Yeah. I don't know. It just really depends on what he improves. I think he can improve. It'll be interesting to see.
That's my question for you really quick. The last one with Brock Purdy. Do you think that he can have a better year?
Yeah.
Next year?
Especially I think he can. I think it'd be a little more of like a cerebral game, I feel like. And maybe Shanahan finally gives him a little more control to the line of scrimmage. That's usually something that they give duties to the center of the offensive line, right? Like those pass protection things. Like maybe he gets more adept at that. Maybe he keys in on more like disguises and such. So yeah, I think he can get a little more better. I mean, look, when he came into this year, he didn't remember in 2022, like his thing was like roll out left and like be weird and like his escapes are kind of predictable. Like we didn't see that.
His alpha was going to work. Like this is his first off season where he's like not rehabbing or training for the draft.
So I think he'll be a little bit better. I don't see him being drastically better, but I think he'll be like, wow, he's still a pretty fine quarterback and he looks a little better.
I like that he said he was going to work on his mobility a little bit. It'd be cool if the 49ers add a little bit of running.
He'll be better.
Not a lot, but if they use it sparingly enough to like kind of like Patrick Mahomes. I'm not comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, but I'm saying like Mahomes has ability and running ability, and he doesn't use it like on Lamar Jackson level or the way that they tried to use Trey Lance, but he definitely used it, I think, a little bit more than Brock Purdy in that Super Bowl. And I think if they did something like that with Brock Purdy, like 3 or 4 runs a game or something, not even 2 or 3 runs, especially maybe later on in the season, not so much in the earlier, like in September and shit, but yeah, I could see that. The last question before I let people go, I just wanted to ask, do you know what they're talking about with Eric Armstead? I was pulling this up because I have no idea. JD, you'd have to ask Jesse or Ryan. Maybe I can I'll send them a DM.
I purposely do not pay attention to most content creators' tweets or work because I'm trying to do my own thing. Because I'm Daniel Hunter just agreed to terms with
49ers?
No. A former 49er coach. What team? What
not Miami.
Guess again.
Miami?
One more. I'll give you one more guess.
D'Amico.
Yes.
Dude, the fucking Texans are going to be so cool.
The Texans are nasty. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
They're a fun team.
He got 2 years, $48 million guaranteed. The Niners weren't giving him that.
I feel like the Niners could have done that.
48 million guaranteed? Holy crap. Yeah, right.
That's fucking cool. Danielle Hunter has agreed to terms with Houston Texans to return home 2 years, $49 million with 48 out of $49 million is crazy. Fully guaranteed. Contract is $51 million max. Dude, some guys need to fire their agents and some guys need to kiss their agents on the lips. He got
So that means the
48
Texans
million.
got Jeffrey Okudah to hopefully boost a little bit of the secondary. They got Azeez Al-Shaair to really boost up the linebacking core. They signed another decent Danico Autry is a good rotational guy, and now they got Danielle Hunter opposite of Will Anderson. That defense is filthy. Do the 49ers play them next year? No, they don't.
I think so. No, they don't.
They play the
49ers
East. They play the East.
schedule.
They play the East
Yeah, because
and the Chiefs.
we play Miami, right? But they'll freaking wait. How would they play them in the playoffs if they got to the playoffs?
Who?
49ers would
Play
play
who in the playoffs?
the Texans.
What conference are the Texans in?
No.
The AFC. How would they play them in the playoffs?
They'd have to go to the Super Bowl. They'd have to go to the Super Bowl.
Aye.
They're so cool. They're gonna
Wow.
be, they're like stacking up to beat the Chiefs. Like they're like, we're gonna freaking go all in.
That's sick.
Go D'Amico. D'Amico has like balls of steel, dude. It's because they got a quarterback. And this is why I do have understanding for people who kind of side-eye the $50 million Purdy. Because Purdy is, I mean, I don't want to poo-poo on Brock Purdy. What he's done is incredible. But when you see a guy like CJ Stroud, and that shit is, to be fair though, because people give Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch so much shit for their drafting, I think the Texans might have taken Bryce Young if they went number one. Like it was pure luck that they just because people could not decide which quarterback was going to be better.
No, I think they've pretty much been on record and it's been written that like they would have had Stroud as the guy ahead no matter what.
Dude, go them. That's going to be a fun team to watch. Who are their receivers? That's their problem.
We got a lot of youngsters. It's Nico Collins who's solid, and
yeah.
Who's this other guy that's pretty good?
The Super Bowl.
It's like a ragtag group of like solid ascending players.
And
I think they'll sign, or excuse me, I think they'll draft another one.
Hey, Kid Cudi.
Hey, right on.
The other day I was in the gym. Was I in the gym or a bar? I forget where. But they were playing, I think it was in New York, and they were playing The Pursuit of Happiness, and I texted Jose because he is a known Kid Cudi fan, and he did not respond to me. So, boo! My dream is to trade for Patrick Surtain. I don't think that he's available. I think the Broncos are not doing that.
Well, that's why it's a dream.
Will be game planned by Jeff next.
He's saying Stroud's going to get figured out by defenses now, which I don't think is true.
I disagree. The only problem with a team like the Texans is
they got to go mix
whoever their offensive coordinator might end up like moving on. But to be fair, I think a lot of the shit that they were good at on offense was kind of CJ Stroud making up on the fly. It wasn't like their scheme was so good. He was just
there was a lot of like moments where he kind of pulled it out of his ass, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. That's exciting. I can't believe that just happened. Wow. Okay. Well, everyone. Dang, what are the 49ers doing?
Don't do that.
You and I talked about that. Free agency is for bad teams that need to go get good players. The Texans don't have a Bosa on the team. You know what I mean? Like we have that guy already. We want every person to be a star, and that's not realistic in a salary cap.
Texans didn't have more than like 4 stars.
Oh my God, really quickly, the last thing that I say, because I just said that's not realistic in a salary cap league. Did you hear or see Tracy Sandler? And I'm not trying to poo-poo anyone. Love girls in sports, love all the beat reporters, what the fuck ever. She wrote out a tweet and was like, I don't understand why fans care how the 49ers spend their money and what money Jed York tries to save. It should be none of their business. In a salary cap league, how is that not?
I think those tweets are always incredibly stupid because it's like, first of all, no one cares how much it's getting paid. But like you said, it's a salary. When there's a league that's determined by the salary cap, we're worried about it because like, wait, you're spending all this when we could have divvied it up to maybe sign another player who could have been helpful elsewhere. So no one really cares. Because, like, in basketball, like, people will have, like, their initial, like, thoughts. But, well, there's salary cap, too. But, like, it doesn't matter. Point is, if there's salary cap, no one would care how much it would be getting. No one cares. But, yeah, I do think that was incredible. Those people who say that are incredibly stupid takes.
Yeah. I felt like it was frustrating. But anyways, everyone, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ashley Aireonna. I want to get to 3,000 by maybe the end of the. I feel like the end of the off season. I want to get
End of
to
the day.
4,000. Let's go. Everyone sign by the end of the day. I want to get to 3,000. Tell your mom, tell your sister, tell your brother. What's that
Or
Prince
else.
song? What's that Prince song? It's like, I'm jealous of your brother and your mother and your sister too. Anyways, and make sure to go follow Jose Sanchez on Twitter. His handle is right there. It's the same on Twitter. He's been pumping out a ton of articles recently on Fan Nation SI, keeping you locked and loaded with every single new signing and release and everything that's going on with the 49ers. I was just watching your face and I felt like your eyes got big and I was like, did something happen? So
No,
you never know. You never know when something's gonna happen. So you gotta like and subscribe. Even if you want, you can turn in my post notifications because I'll put if there is a big signing or something, I'll put out either a small video or go live. Going live tomorrow with Tom Jensen. And Jose and I will be back on next week. By then, I want one of these commenters. It's your job to figure out how much Javon Kinlaw got paid because Jose and I have a bet, and I think that I'll probably have won that bet, but I'm not sure. And so Jose thinks that he made under 4 million. I think he made over 4 million, and I have to go back and listen to our last show, but we bet something. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks to Jose for joining me last second. And yeah, everyone make sure to read all those articles, check them out. Have a good one. Bye, guys.